All right, so we're getting into the engine disassembly of our Honda TRX90 engine, and we have the nuts on this side are stuck to the stud. So when you go to loosen the nut, the whole entire stud's turning. And then on this engine, you can't get the stud out. Sometimes you can just pull the stud out. So we'll have to address that. Now we already freed this one up, so we'll just show you if you run into this. And this applies to any situation like this, not just this engine. So what we did here is we just simply got some vice grips. You don't want to mess up the threads. Just be careful where you're putting them. Get those on good and snug. Whether you use a torch or a heat gun, I'm just going to apply some heat to this nut. Warm it up. Let's see, that could be enough. Try it. And then, okay, there we go. And then I'm not going to touch that one because it's very hot. So just like that, this will thread off. And then we'll get our top end off, and then we'll go over how to put the stud back in. Okay, now that our top end is out of the way, and we're going to go on and tear the rest of this engine down, but let's say we were going back together. It's time to put the stud back in. This particular engine, it's kind of 50-50. The manufacturers don't always give you specifications. If they do, it's going to be something along the lines of maybe a torque spec and or a measured length of the installed stud. Like I said, this one, the TRX90, they don't give us anything to go on. So, you know, just check with the manual or with us with whatever engine you're working on, and we can point you in the right direction. So usually they're directional. So the thread pitch in size is different on the top than the bottom. Also on the bottom, there's a shoulder here that this thing will rest against. So this one, it's a kind of an odd size on the end, so I don't have the actual nuts. So we're going to use this bolt as an example. So when you have a torque spec and you have nuts available to do this with, here's the deal. So you're going to take, let's say this is your stud here. So you're going to take and thread one nut on this way. And then you're going to thread on another nut this direction so they rest against each other. Then these are 10 millimeters. So you'll take 2 wrenches here, put one there and here, and then you're just going to tighten those together. You don't have to go crazy, just so it doesn't spin. That way, when you go back together and put your new stud in, you can actually get a socket on here, and then if it has a torque spec, you can hit it. Typically, these are not a high torque. You're going to be in the neighborhood of, let's say, 7 to 8 foot-pounds, for an example. So this one, we're just going to have to kind of wing it. So we're going to just go ahead and put it in our engine the correct direction, and we're going to thread it in. And I've looked at other similar Honda engines that say 8 foot-pounds. So what I'll do is I'll have to find the correct size nuts, do it like we did on the bolt we just showed you, and then I would say 7-8 foot-pounds will be good to go. But that is how you deal with these stuck studs.